I am sitting today chatting with the wonderful Charmaine, who is a business coach, among a whole lot of other wonderful things that you do. I think today's real purpose was for you and I to sit and have a cup of tea and a cup of coffee and talk a little bit on behalf of the business owner community about some of the things that they are maybe going through right now with COVID and Corona and lockdown. But before we get into all of that, I'd actually love you to just take a minute and tell us a bit about you and who you are and what you do.
Oh, Carly, thank you for having me. I'm so excited that we are having this chat because I'm always elated when I'm in your energy, even though via the video conference. What do I do, actually? My goal is to have an impact of 1 million people in this world, okay? And I go about doing this by inspiring, by helping especially small businesses, because I am frustrated, even before COVID, with the unemployment rate that continues to go up. So my goal is to be able to skill, provide them with the tools to be able to be effective businesses, and if they're successful, they can in turn employ people, but also help individuals to build their skill sets to go out and generate income, because money is an important driver for everybody's well-being.
Absolutely.
So that's what I do in a nutshell.
And have you found that you've had your hands full over the last month or so? I'm sure there's a lot of people, I know, even in my own personal capacity, reaching out to all my sort of friends and support structures, because it's a tough time that we're in right now.
It was a tough time before COVID, but it's an even tougher time now. So yes, I do. I'm more busier than I've ever been supporting people. I mean, I wake up at, people that know me well, I wake up at 4 o'clock, before 4 every morning. And then I'm on back-to-back meetings, helping people with the businesses, helping individuals move out of the anxiety into a space where they can reflect, accept the situation, and go, damn, there's going to be a different way forward. We cannot expect the same thing that happened before. So they need to go through the different phases to go, okay, I'm ready for whatever the new era holds for us from an emotional perspective as well from a business perspective.
Well, you're making me feel like a massive underachiever, because I certainly don't get up at 4 o'clock. That's amazing. Goals, 2020 goals. I'll put that on my list.
It doesn't have to be. It doesn't have to be your goal, because everything is different for everybody else. I mean, I've always woken up early because that's my thinking time and reflection time, and be able to respond to the emails that I don't get a chance to do in the day. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll maybe give it a try, and I'll let you know how that goes. So one of the things you touched on, and it's interesting that that's kind of a solution for you, is you wake up early, you get through those emails that you haven't gone through. But I think a lot of these little devices are in some ways to help us cope with some stress and anxiety and the things that niggle in our minds when we go to bed at night. And there's a lot of that at the moment, especially for business owners. So I mean, there's some specific things that I know a lot of people in our community have brought up and that they're concerned about, but I think just in general, what are your thoughts on managing the anxiety that people are going through right now with everything that's happening in the world?
Okay. I think it's important for them to accept the fact that, or we all need to acknowledge that this is real. And it's normal for people to go through this phase of anxiety because livelihoods have been impacted. The economy is in a downturn. People are losing jobs. I mean, I've just yesterday I actually read that America has 22 million unemployed people.
Wow.
Put that in perspective. South Africa has 58 million. Our population is 58 million, right? So that is dire if we compare it to South Africa, but they have 328 million. The point I'm making, lots of people are going to lose their jobs. Facts. We cannot deny that. Fact is, so people have reason to feel anxious, but what they need to do is go, this is the situation. Being anxious is not going to help me move forward in the way that I need to. So you need to find coping mechanisms. And what seems to work for the people that are finding traction and finding successes in their businesses is, I'm in the situation. I have no control over it, but I have control over how I choose to view my business, view the future, and grab opportunities that presents itself. So that's key. Changing your mindset to accept and look within and look around to see what are the opportunities for me to move ahead. And that's important. Also, exercising, finding balance. Because if you do all of that, it positively impacts your brain as well as your ability to function. Because people are in a fearful mode and are sitting back. Wake up, show up, dress up, read, engage with people, motivate, do trade-offs. There's a lot you can do. But when you're in this like fearful state, it's like you feel the world is closing in. Yes, it is. But you have control over how you choose to open it.
Yeah, I know. And even, exercise, I've done some reading about how it releases like endorphins, which help you kind of counteract that overthinking and kind of levels you out again. I know it's so difficult to do right now. I'm exploring a whole new world of online exercise that I never knew existed. But even if it's something small, I think you're right. I think that can make a difference.
If you just walk around your home, if you can, or just do like 100 skips or jump around the house or put some music and dance. It impacts your mood as well. Yeah.
And what about the more sort of, so that's, I think everyone can take something away from that because everyone's, feeling a little bit tense at the moment, but more specifically for business owners who are, you mentioned at the beginning of our talk, money is really important and your finances have a massive impact on the rest of your life. What about people who are concerned about, I don't have enough cash flow to last me the next few months, or I'm worried that my business is going to close? What are some sort of things that you could maybe offer for them to think about?
From a cash flow perspective, unfortunately, we don't actually have a magic wand to help them with that fact. However, I am aware of a number of relief programs that people could access. After our talk, I'll send you a list of all the websites as well as the relief programs that are available from a cash flow perspective. What I am aware of is the fact that that process is not seamless. So just to manage expectations, if they're expecting money to flow in immediately, it's not going to happen. So that's a reality. I suggest that with regards to their staff, as well as their creditors or people that they're owing money to, that they have conversations, because people are making arrangements, whether it's trade-off, delays. And I wouldn't propose that anybody just close their business right now, because it's not the right time to want to do that. You could, there's a myriad of things you could actually do. Take payment holidays and negotiate that. Start registering to get finances. That will come through, but at a slower pace. Consult with your employees. Don't take decisions on your own. So if you do have employees, sit them down. And that's been very effective, where you go, I am in this predicament. I cannot actually pay you all of your salary or any of your salary. And these are the implications if I do. Can we agree something instead of forcing decision-making going down? Because that sort of forcing method impacts the owner as well as the employees, and the energy has impact on the business currently as well as into the future. So those are little things that you could actually do.
That's a really important point. I think we all sort of have this understanding and empathy that no one's a bad person right now because they can't necessarily pay you what they would. It's just the unfortunate circumstances that we find ourselves in. And if you can at least be a part of that conversation, maybe there's even a way you can draw on some new innovation or different thinking if you consult with your team. They can bring suggestions and ideas to the table that you might not have thought of. I think that's a really cool way to look at it.
Absolutely. And that's been pretty effective, actually, where the people that you least consult, and I've noticed that in strategy, often when we're developing strategy, the executives sit around the table and we don't invite the people that are actually doing the work. And when you tap into that environment, there's so much knowledge and wealth that comes out of there. So it's a critical point for all effective leaders. Consult, have honest conversations, be courageous, accept the situation, but don't let it limit you. Because in crises, and that's been my personal experiences as well, and if you move from that anxiety, fearful state to where you accept it and go, I'm ready for this and I'm going to make the difference, you get the best opportunities that unlocks itself.
It's like a surrender almost, like a surrender to the situation, let's try and deal with what we can work with right now.
It's not easy. It's
No.
possible. It is possible. And you need to reach out to people that could actually, or your support structure. Oh, and this is also critical. You need to surround yourself or start building. What can you start working on your business now? Network online. Understand what it is your business does and ask yourself an honest question. Are you providing a solution to people out there? Because if you're not, you need to reshape and re-navigate. Because many of my clients go, oh, my people have terminated my contract. I was like, okay, but why did they? Because if it was an effective, meaningful value proposition, they wouldn't have. They would have delayed it. So those are important things to utilize this time and reflect. And please don't be hung up into the fact that I've started this business and I just have to make sure that it moves on and on and on. Because sometimes it's okay to take the learnings and move in a different direction.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of people that I've spoken to, business owners and sort of people who are B2B, consult with businesses, are all kind of saying this is a great opportunity to kind of go back to 101. Like, why are you doing what you're doing? What is your value proposition? It's a time to really dig deep and have those conversations with yourself.
And what solution are you providing? Because there's a lot of opportunities right there, right now. And there's and diversification is actually key.
So I'm wondering, we're talking about staff and team, and I just want to stick with that for a second, because I think we all feeling that team spirit now as South Africans all coming together in this. What are some of the ways, because we are online and we are kind of very, very much isolated in some ways, what are some ways that you think people could keep up morale with their staff, keep people feeling connected if they are able to stay open, or even if they're just wanting to keep those lines of communication going while we're in this situation?
Carly, I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself. I've not embraced technology before. COVID has forced me to do Zoom and Hangouts and all of those other things. And I did, as a people's person, I've never thought that I'd enjoy it. And what I'm finding is daily check-in with your staff, or daily check-in with a few people, actually helps that unity, sharing ideas, and uplifting that morale. Because every single one of us, at some stage in our life, needs somebody to uplift us. And the leader would get that from the staff, and the leader needs to provide it for the employees as well. So yeah. And if you're a sole proprietor, then you need to have a circle of influence that you tap into. Do you know what I'm saying?
Like a mentor or someone that you trust, that you can kind of lean on.
A mentor, an advisor. There's so many organizations and people offering free services and skills. So use that time to reach out and shape your business, even yourself, as to where you need to build skills. And that will hold you in good stead into the new era we're moving into.
I'm quite excited to see what that looks like when we emerge from all of this. I think a lot of us are starting to accept that this is a somewhat new normal. But how do we kind of, you speak about this new era, how do we kind of do that gear change? Like, how do we kind of, I don't know what I'm trying to say here really, but just adapt to this new way of life, I guess.
It's Carly, who's best to be able to adapt to, in order to adapt to this change? What do you think we need to do?
Oh my gosh.
I guess we need to do. No, it's not easy. It is not easy. And I'm the first to admit it. But it's about me stepping up to go, I'm in this situation. I could spend my entire day looking at the TV that's going to be depressing me. I'm going to create structure. I'm going to utilize 15 minutes of my day to look at the news and see what's actually happening. I'm going to use an hour of my day to be able to upskill. I'm going to use another hour to reach out to people. I'm going to look into my business to see why am I not cash flow savvy? Why haven't I built in a 6-month plan? Where did I go wrong? What is it I should be doing going forward? It's all of those reflection points that are critical, because now if your business was not built on a strong foundation, it's wavy now, right? So you need to utilize the time, take those learnings and go, okay, went wrong here, what can I do differently? So start working on your business, grow your networks, understand where you went wrong and how you're going to change that to move forward. And I think online businesses are going to be more effective, in my opinion, than those buildings that we had previously. And that's also a cost saver. There's a lot of way to cut fat at the moment. You just need to go look at your business and see how you're going to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm
absolutely.
happy to help any of your people that reaches out. So I'm going to give 5 people an opportunity. Reach out. Let's do a due diligence, an assessment, and a plan going forward.
For those of you who are on our Small Businesses Unlocked community, Charmaine is on there, and you can maybe just comment on the post or comment on the post when we share this recording if there's something that you want to ask or reach out to her about. I loved what you said there about structure. Because what is normal to us on a good day, even 6 months ago, what's normal? Normal is a little bit about your routine. It's those things, those cadences in your day, those flows, those kind of benchmarks in your day where you do certain things. And it's just about adjusting that to what we have right now. And it's not unachievable. I've actually found a few things that I enjoy even more now that I have the time and the capacity to do so. I haven't picked up a book in ages, and I've started reading again, and it's wonderful. It's going to help me hone my craft in what I do as well. So there's lots of opportunities. One question we did get just before we kind of wrap things up, one question we got from someone in our community was kind of an interesting question. Would now be a time to think about actually growth? So to look at this very differently.
It depends. Growth is very, very important from a personal perspective as well from a business. It's great. There's no point in having an offering if you're not growing it, right? Yes, it is the time to think of growth, but not financial growth, because what I'm finding is people are holding on to their money, but grow to talk about your craft, build more people, create the awareness, help people do trade-offs. Often what you're finding, there's lawyers giving services for free, there's accountants giving stuff for free. Understand what you need and what you have to offer and trade. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, you can absolutely
Also,
still get value.
Absolutely. And then you also utilize technology to talk about what is it that you actually do and how you have impact. So you should continue, even do a timetable, build some structure as to how you're going to grow your growth plan, because you still can. And trust me, in this period, people are still willing to pay. If it's an essential service, they're still willing to pay consultants that are effective, meaningful, that add value. I work on, I do multiple projects actually. And it's amazing that corporates are in contact to train people via webinars at this moment, and they're paying. So you just need to understand what is it that you're happy to do, add value, and make a difference. And there's a market for it. You need to believe it. You need to do the work and make that happen for you. Yes, you should be thinking of growth. You never stop thinking about growth, because that's critical.
Well, there you go. I think that's a really good place to end off. Very inspiring and motivating. So I think we'll leave our chat there for now, unless there's anything else sort of in closing, Charmaine, that you want to say, any bits of pieces of advice or things that you've heard from your own community that you think would be valuable to share.
I've made the point, but I'm going to make it again. In times of crisis, there's opportunities. You just need to work on yourself, move out of the fearful stage, move into a state of balance, find what the medicine is for you, and then go seek out those opportunities, because it is there. And I've experienced it personally. The people in my network have actually experienced that. Carly, you've experienced that. And a multiple of people have. So just go, find it, move on. There's hope. And I'm just going to leave you with love, light, happiness, and healing energy, because if you're grounded mentally and physically, opportunities you will attract.